right here on the NCCE.
People dying. Oh, it's time to lend a hand to life, the greatest.
Yes, the Activate program is a youth program happening right here on Down and Cheapest in the Firm that seeks to inspire change among Data Ghana. My name is Activate Issah Rahama, your host. Yes, Activate, good evening once again. It's still the Activate program right here on Down and Cheapest in the Firm. It is a very beautiful Sunday evening, and once again, I'm here, my active self and my active panelists from NCCE, National Commission for Civic Education, a non-partisan governance institution set up under the Article 231 of the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana to promote sustained democracy and inculcate in the Ghanaian citizenry the awareness of their rights and obligations through civic education. So from NCCE today, I have the Regional Director, Northern Region, Mr. Alhaji Shaani Abdulrazak. Alhaji, welcome to the studio.
It's glad to be here.
Already made known to everyone what we're going to talk about. If you haven't seen it, you can go to Facebook now because we're going to be live on the Facebook page, so you can see Alhaji and myself discussing the topic here. Just type Active Youth or type the Active Youth. You find us on Facebook. We are live. You can see us. And if you have any questions later in the discussion, you can just type it in the you can leave it as a comment in the live video, or I'll mention the text lines later in the discussion as well. Also, I'll give you the call lines later in the discussion so that you can call us and ask all the questions that you have. So, Alhaji, we just ended election 2020, and we all know that the whole world knows Ghana to be the beacon of democracy in Africa, and also, it's recognized as the golden son of Africa because of the peace we have over the years. Since the inception of the Fourth Republic, we've had 8 successful and peaceful elections, including the just ended December 7th elections.
Right.
Yes, but it is also noted that just the recent election, we had a bit of inconveniences, and it is due to the fact that both political parties are claiming to have won the just ended election. So leaders are trying very hard in order to, they say they want to protect the democracy of Ghana, and so they tend to engage in activities just so with their belief that they're protecting the democracy of Ghana, and it tends to, in a way, incite some young people to engage in activities that actually are resulting in the over 50 violent incidences recorded since the declaration of the December 7th election results, and resulted in 5 people dying, as reported by the police. This is what I want us to talk about: post-election violence, what's been happening so far, how we, the young people, can actually contribute to ensuring that we help manage the situation, and what generally everyone can also contribute, because it looks like if something is not done, it will lead to something that we all would want, and a lot of people are watching. But I want us to narrow our discussion down to somebody, because this is where we are. This is where we actually seeing a lot of this. This is where we are, and then this is where we get a chance to see more of what is happening here than outside there. And this is the people who are directly in contact with us and will get to listen to us very well. So we want to narrow a discussion down. So I just wanted to know from you generally how the situation has been after the election.
Thank you very much. It's a very interesting topic, and rightly so, because of issues that are happening after the elections. It's all part of the test of the democracy that we have given to ourselves. In a democracy, there are bound to be dissents people will dissent on issues. And so when issues like that arise, there are avenues that have been prescribed for us to seek redress. There is nothing like violence in a democracy. There is what we call dissent, as I say. Regrettably, things have turned out to be not what we expect. When an election is going to be held, from the beginning, election, let me say, is not an event, it's a process. From the beginning of the process up to the end, we have what we call laws. Laws govern each of the activities that we undertake. Why do we have laws governing these activities? We have the laws because it is anticipated that even when the laws govern us, there will be, some sort of disagreements. And when these disagreements arise, the law also prescribes for us what the processes that we will have to take to seek redress. Now, the two main political parties, that is the NPP and the NDC, are currently, arguing. I don't want to say quarreling. They're not even quarreling. They are arguing about the issues that have arisen from the results that was declared by the Electoral Commission a few days ago. Now, if I have heard the NDC right, they think that they have won the election. And the MPP also think that they have won the election per the declaration made by the Electoral Commission. Now, so for now, what the NDC has to do is to seek redress from the law courts. All of us who are in this business know that, yes, in one way or the other, maybe certain things have happened. You recall that in one African country like that, I don't quite remember that country. Just recently, there was this same problem, and the opposition went to court, and finally the court decided that there should be a rerun of, I think that is Malawi, Malawi. There should be a rerun of the elections, and that happened. So I want to say that the violence that we have witnessed is needless. It's something that I think should not come to mar the beauty of the democracy that we have given to ourselves and the successes that we have chalked over the last, over 25 years that we have practiced it. So for me, every Ghanaian citizen has a right to openly, talk about his dissatisfaction over issues, and to openly, call for justice. But I think that we shouldn't go out of the way to let our dissent cause I don't want to call disaffection, but disturbances. So for now, there are issues indeed, and I have heard that the NDC is still working out. Yesterday or 2 days ago, I heard one of their leading personalities talking about the fact that they are still doing some audit of the pensions that they have with them. I hope and pray that soonest they will come out, show to the whole country, especially to the courts of justice, that they have a case. Sometimes people talk about the fact that they will not get justice from the law courts. Why? Sometimes they think that, even the leadership of the courts are appointed by, so and so. So so to say, they will not get the justice that they require. But what I say is that, look, let's test the law. Those who adjudicate, the judges, have sworn on their honor to do right to all manner of people. If at the end of the day, they don't do that, they will live to regret it. And on the day of judgment, you and I know that people who don't dispense justice well will have to answer from their Creator. So let us take our time, let us do things peacefully. The NDC have the right to demonstrate, they have the right to talk, but what I want to differ is that their dissent should not degenerate into something nasty, like you said, something that we don't want for ourselves. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Alhaji Shaani. I want to know, currently, a lot of people who do not even have, do not really understand the entire situation, just because a particular leader has come out to say this and that. People are taking, they actually listen so much to them and tend to act based on what they say. And so what do you actually have to tell people, especially, I hear people say, no, this person, no peace, but the person doesn't really understand the entire situation, but just because somebody has said something somewhere, the person has taken it up and also, going forward with it. Is it helpful, and what message do you have for people who, do this?
Yes, it's true. Our people listen to what their leaders tell them very well, and so far I have not heard from the NDC, their leaders calling their followers to take up arms or do something that is undemocratic.
Okay.
They have asked them to stay put, to be patient, while they exhaust the legal means, for seeking redress. Sometimes our youth don't understand issues. In a democracy, the due process of the law is key. I always tell people that, look, when you go into your bedroom and you find your wife with another man, you don't take up a machete and kill him. No, you hold him and then hand him over to the law courts or to the law enforcement agencies for trespassing, because he's not supposed to be in your bedroom and then you found him in your bedroom. But when you kill him, you have also broken the law. So what I want the youth to understand is that all what we are doing is based on law. And so if you don't follow what the law says, and you also do something that is contrary to the law, you have broken the law. And you cannot have any defense. Your defense cannot be that you didn't know that it was an offense. In law, we know that ignorance of it is no excuse. Just saying that, oh, I didn't know that was an offense, it doesn't mean that you have been, absolved of the crime. You still have to be punished, because the one who is going to dispense the justice, the judge, has the law on his table, and he is going to, adjudicate based on the law. But you see, if you look at it from the other side of religion, if you are a Muslim or you are a Christian, and you do something that is against your religion, unknowingly, God will forgive you, because God knows what is in your heart more than you know, and He knows whether what you are saying is true or not. Now, but from the judge's point of view, the judge is a mortal. It's like you and me, and so he doesn't know whether deep down in your heart you did it unknowingly. But of course, the law is there, and so whatever judgment is going to pass is going to be based on the law. So I want to urge our youth that, let us avoid some of the excesses that we see, like burning of the ties and all those sort of things, attacking personalities. That will not help advance the democracy that we have given ourselves. Our leaders have what it takes, and they know what the laws are. They know how to go about to seek justice. Every one of them who voted for the party has every justification to vent his anger. Yes, but venting your anger doesn't mean that go to the extremes and do something that will affect our national space. The streets are supposed to be used by all of us. When we burn ties on the streets, we are spoiling the streets, and we need money someday to fix the streets again. And already we don't have the money. Already the issues are bigger. Issues are many. Issues to solve are many. So when we go about doing what is not the best, we are hurting ourselves. Even though we think that we are trying to get justice for ourselves, we may get the justice at the end of the day, but we would have also hurt ourselves, because when we spoil the streets, and the streets begin to develop potholes and all of the things that we think about it hurts us. So that means that we'll have to take some money from the national coffers, from the national the till to go and fix this road. And that, for me, is something that our youth should consider very dearly. At the end of the day, even if you get the justice that you want and you are going to govern, people will still come to you to say, oh look, this part of the road is not good. Who made it bad? It is our actions that made it bad. So please, I want to urge all of us, let us sit down and then reflect over all of these issues. I always believe in one thing, that is this. Anyone who wants to cheat you, even he himself is not at peace. Inwardly, he's not at peace, because we have, the heart doesn't tell a lie. It is the mouth that tells a lie. We know that deep down in our hearts, whether those who want to cheat are doing the right thing, they will be haunted, in their hearts. They know it, that yes, we have cheated. And anyone who cheats, definitely would have the wrath of the Creator. So I want to urge everyone, let's just stay put. Let's ensure that the democratic processes work, and then at the end of the day, anyone who feels cheated and justifiably, can seek redress, the appropriate way.
Okay, thank you very much. So Mr. Shaani has said it all. So if you are engaging in an act that is destroying public properties, just know that next year, the monies that were meant to have constructed roads for you in the community will be used to manage those lost, and you will be crying again for a road. So let's be very careful with that. But Mr. Shaani, I want to know, a lot of things have happened, from snatching of ballot boxes, killing of people at the polling stations. People have said a lot of things, and people have also reacted. There are lots of things that happened during this period. From everything that is happening, would we say our democracy is affected or is still shaking? Has anything happened? What does it mean for we, the young people?
Some of these things are scars to the democracy that we have given to their bloods, and the democracy that we have given to ourselves. We expect that, of course, in every election you should expect some one or two, disturbances, one or two, problems. But the problems were anticipated, and that is why the security was prepared for all of these things. Now, we, from the NCCE perspective, we didn't expect that at least people would be so brave to go to the extent of snatching ballot boxes. What are you going to do with the ballot boxes? Where are you sending it? These are the questions that I always ask. What are you going to do with the ballot boxes? And where are you sending it? Some of these actions, excuse me to say, are irrational. They don't reflect the vision of our founding fathers, and they don't reflect the vision of the architects of our 1992 Republican Constitution, because if there are any things that you think are not happening the way that you think should happen, you have, avenues, as I said initially, that you can seek redress. So by going to the extent of, snatching a ballot box, it means that you are putting our democracy, you are stretching it, you are putting it to great test, because what it means is that you are trying to disenfranchise some people. Those people who have voted, what are you going to do with their votes? Are you going to ban all of it? And you see, the law says that all of them have the right to be heard. So if you do that, it means that you don't even subscribe to the democratic tenets. And so in that situation, you will be at variance with the law. And I keep talking about the law because the law is everything in this country. All of us are equal before the law. The law is supreme. No one of us, none of us, not even the President of the Republic, can say that he's above the law. The Yana cannot be above the law. The Mampurana cannot be above it. The Dimbilachi. All of us are equal before the law. And it's like somebody who said, no, all of us are equal before the law. No one is above the law, and no one is also beneath the law. So if you go and do something like this, you snatch a ballot, you do anything that will lead to the death of somebody, all of these things are scars on our democracy. Now, we have put it behind us. Yes, it's gone. Those who have died maybe have been buried, maybe their funerals have been performed, but it will be in the history of this country that once upon a time, during the 2020 elections, so and so snatched ballot box, so and so was killed, and all of these things. There are issues that will keep coming up in subsequent elections and even in the political history of this country. So these are things that we have to avoid, and don't allow politicians to lead you into doing some of these things, because you will regret it. At the end of the day, you are the only one who is going to answer for your actions. If you go to say that, oh, it is so and so who asked me to do it, I mean, you will not be forgiven. The law will not forgive you. Do you understand? If that person said you should do it, I mean, you should be sensible enough to know that, oh no, it's against the law, and when I do it, there are consequences for it. And so you will be dancing to the music alone. And perhaps the one who asks you to do it will be laughing and enjoying in the comfort of his bedroom with his children and wives. So please, the youth must avoid all this. You see, that is to extremes. Some of our youth are overzealous, and they would want to do something that will attract the attention of their political godfathers, and they'll say that, oh, this is a person who is prayed, he's working in the interest of a party means that doing what the law says you should do. Don't go do anything contrary to the law. And when you do anything contrary to the law, you will have to answer for it. And for me, I want to urge the youth, there is a lot ahead of us, a lot. We have to think of how to get a school, we have to think how to graduate, we have to think how to get jobs. Not only getting jobs from government, but also creating jobs for our own selves. Too many of us are always, thinking of what is it that we're going to do, and then so that the political patrons will say, oh, this guy is brave, this guy is, just before the elections, I saw a group of young girls at a hilltop, the roundabout, standing in the scorching sun, canvassing for a political party. All of them young girls. Then I said to myself, what is happening? Do these girls know what they are doing? Do you understand? Here you are, young girls. I believe most of them are yearning to be wives. Very few people will go for women who do these things. How can my wife, my future wife to be on the street, almost half naked, because you could see all of their contours. On the street, conversing. You don't know. No one would want to marry such a woman. A very serious suitor will not go for such a woman, because he wants a woman who will be home with him, who will be a wife. But of course, yes, if it's a girlfriend, yeah, oh, they'll be happy. My girlfriend is here, there. But so I was worried because I didn't expect them to be there. And you see, the issues that should occupy our thoughts and even the actions should be what is it that we want the politicians to do so that the totality of all of Ghana will be better off. What is it that we want government to do or the parties to do so that education will be qualitative? As I speak to you, the quality of our education is terrible. At the primary, at the junior, at the senior, even at the university. What is it that we can do? And these things will be better. When we go into the health sector, it's the same. You go to our hospitals, doctors come to work at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. I mean, there is no supervision. I mean, everybody does what he wants, what he or she wants. When you go to the agri sector, there is a lot of indiscipline. Do you know that the planting for jobs, fertilizer, the fertilizer that they gave for planting for food and jobs has found its way all the way in Gabon. Do you know what Gabon is? Gabon is in the Central Africa. It's Central Africa. And so if fertilizer from Ghana can find its way in Gabon, what are we doing? It tells you that there is something wrong. Look at the state of security. Yesterday I went to visit one of our sisters, and the daughter, the daughter's, Farha, the motorbike was stolen around 7 o'clock. Around this time, she was traveling home, riding home, just around behind Wumbe's yard at Vitin, and that some young guys, confronted her, stood over, and they were, electrocuting. They were, giving her shocks, electrical shocks. I have never heard of this. I was shocked. They were giving her electrical shocks with some devices, and finally she fell down and they, went away with her. Mm-hmm. What are we going to do? This is a young girl who has just left university. Her mother has struggled to buy a motorbike. You see that our young girls and our young boys and all of us are citizens. Once upon a time had, first day in the social media are not getting what they were getting, and so they are resorting to other means of living. Okay. What is government doing about that? Look at the indiscipline on our roads. All of us are indisciplined. When the light is red, people come in. Even policemen, I have seen policemen in uniform defy traffic regulations. Okay. The youth are there doing whatever they want. Old men, malams, pastors, everybody is in it. What are we going to do? What should government do?
Alhaji, you mentioned that people don't really understand. I mean, everything tells that people don't really understand the law. What is NCCE doing?
No, it's not as if people don't understand the law.
Sensitize people more.
Look, it's not that people don't understand the law. People simply disregard the law. Okay. If I come here and I decide to ease myself, don't I know that it's wrong to do that here? Or I take this bottle of water and I begin to splash, am I mad? And that is what is happening on the roads. If the traffic, if the traffic light tells you that, oh, red means stop, why do you go? Why do you live? Why do you disregard it?
What do you think makes people disregard?
Because they are recalcitrant. They think that even when they disregard the law, nothing will happen to them. Let me give you an example. When I was in America, one day I was out with my brother, and that was the first few days of my stay in America. And as we were walking, I just felt like urinating, and I saw some small corner, and I went to unzip, and then to pollute the environment. And just then a policeman appeared. What are you doing here? And it was my brother who came to my aid and told them that there was an insect in my panty. They call it trouser panty. And I wanted to that was a fortunate thing. I had not started urinating, and that was what got me off the hook. If not, I would have paid a fine of $80. You see, people know that the law will bite when they disturb it, so they wouldn't do it. But over here, the laws are there. The laws are there, and people are defying it. They are flouting it left and right. Why do they do that? Because they know that the law will not bite them. When it is going to bite them, if somebody is arrested for breaking the law, as he's being sent to the police station, it's been put in the cell, the malam will call, or the malam will send somebody, that is my son, or that is my nephew, or that is my grandson. The chief will send somebody, the political patrons will send somebody. Oh, okay, he's my foot soldier, just allow him on. We have had situations where people have been put in remand and politicians have taken them off. So you see, what are you telling the youth? That yes, breaking the law is lawful. No. But that is wrong.
I've been an I was an election observer in the election, and a man came, and then it's not allowed for someone to go in with someone to vote.
Right.
Took the lady in, and she was not old, like, yeah, very energetic. And his reason was that she's the wife of the chief, and
you see, that is not the law.
It happened, and they couldn't even
the best that you could have done is to teach her to vote.
Yeah.
You don't do that.
He said he must enter with her.
You have broken the law. And why are we all quiet? Because that is the wife of the chief. And that is why I said in the beginning that in this country, no one is above the law. The chief is not above the law. The chief's wife is not above the law. And the one who is quoted is not above the law. Even the president is not above the law. He's the first gentleman in this country. He's not above the law, and he knows it.
What can we do to ensure that people?
You see, our development is on a day, stagnating. It's retarding because we didn't have laws. If we have all the laws, you see, all the beautiful laws in our statute books are there. But the laws are not fighting. They are not fighting. The laws are not fighting crime. So it is up to us. It is up to our politicians. You see, we need what I call political will and the moral courage. One, political will. Secondly, moral courage. You see, when you are doing the wrong thing, you know it. No one should tell you that this is wrong. Be what you are expected to be, even when others are not there. If I come into this room and no one is there, and I do what is not expected of me, I fail to be a gentleman. When I come into this room and no one is there, I do what is expected of me, even when no one is watching me, then I have become a gentleman. If you do same, you have become a lady. If the law fails, you see, when you go to other jurisdictions, people will do what is expected of them. Not because they think that there is some big, Lord up there watching them. But over time, they have come to accept the fact that yes, it's good to be lawful. We when we were in school, anytime we were asked to go to the farm to plant maize on the school farm, because we wanted to do things quickly and go back. We didn't want farming. We thought that farming was the peasants' work. It's for those who have never been to school. So what we do is that instead of putting 2 grains in a hole, you take about 40 and put in a hole. We didn't know that we were harming our own sons. Today, some of us are farmers. Shall we be happy if we send our children to the farm and they did that? Shall we be happy? We certainly will not be happy. So, do unto others what you expect to be done to you. if today the law says that don't do A, B, C, D, and you abide by it, I abide by it, she abides by it, he abides by it, all of us abide by it, then we are better off. The nation stands to gain. You see, when there is a rule of law, the country grows beyond bounds. Today, we expect people to come into our country to invest. No investor would want to go to a place where there is no law, where there is no order. Do you understand? Today, look at the environment. People are defecating left and right. When you go into this forest this evening, you see how old men, young men, all over there, defecating. Do you know what that means to us? Do you know the effects on the communities that still are there? Even the whole of Tama, we have a dam in the forest, and so when we defecate, and maybe it rains, and all the fecal these things go into the reservoir. Along the line, as it flows, it becomes drinking water for others. What are we feeding them on? It's not good.
Yeah.
So the environment needs discipline, and it's going to come from us. The roads, we want discipline. You see, the vehicle on the road is driven by you and me. The motor on the road is ridden by you and me. So you see, the motor doesn't know, oh, I'm on the right side or on the wrong side. You are the one directing it. So do what is right. When you do what is right, all of us become better. All of us comes. You see, when there is law and order, the society benefits. But when we don't have law and order, and everyone does what he or she wants, there is anarchy. When we were children, there used to be a popular song we sang on Dambadis. You see what it means? So that there is law, breakdown of law and order. But when there is a chief, you cannot do what you want. So first and foremost, it means that those in the helm of affairs, our political leaders must insist that the right things should be done. Our chiefs must insist that the right things should be done. Our family heads must insist that the right things should be done. The assembly persons must insist, all of us in leadership, including even you, because you have a voice. People listen to you. You understand? And so you should insist that the law is respected and that the right things are done. When I insist that the right things are done in my home, my children, get those fundamentals, and then they come out and they exhibit it in the public. Yeah. Societies, gains. Do you understand? When they refuse to do the wrong things, when your children refuse to do the wrong things, my children refuse to do the wrong things, all of us, you see, but unfortunately that is not the case. Even indiscipline is widespread in our homes. The father is indisciplined, the mother is indisciplined. So what do you expect the children to be? They are also indisciplined. How can a father send children to go and buy, alcohol for him? What are you telling them to do? You are telling them that alcohol is good. How can a father send his children to go and buy cigarettes? You are telling them that cigarette is good. They should also smoke. How can a father send his children to go and call him a girlfriend? What are you telling them? You are telling them that is good. So do you have any moral authority when tomorrow that your son also impregnates a girl outside wedlock? Do you have any moral authority over your daughter when she goes out and sleeps? You can't say anything because she has seen you do it. And children learn by example. So there are a whole lot of things that we will have to do. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So Alhaji said it, when you do the right thing, the society gets better. And the first thing is for you to discipline yourself. Be disciplined. So you saw the activity program right here on the NCCE program. I think it's the time for you to get a chance to call in and also send us text messages. So you can call me through 037 202 2261, 037 202 2261. Or send me a text message to 024 269 024 269 You can also still find us on Facebook. on the activity page. If there are any comments, any contributions, any questions, you can leave it there. The page, you can just type active youth or type the active youth, you find us live there. So the call line is 027-202-3261, 037-202-3261, or text me to 024-2691-461. Okay. Alhaji.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's been an interesting discussion so far.
Right.
So much has been learned. They'll call us, they'll send us the messages, and I'll refer them to you so you
No
can
problem.
send to them. But I want to know, the harm has been, a lot of things are suffering. People have already had their minds tuned to some particular way of doing things now because of what has been happening. What can we do to help, reverse the entire situation back to how we were, just to ensure that we help maintain the peace and stability we were already enjoying? People say Ghana is volatile now, especially summer. Anything can happen at any time, but there is still something we can do to help reverse the situation, bring people back to their normal selves, and or even bring them back to being better than they were. So what can we actually do to help manage the current situation we have in Ghana?
You see, the first thing is to recognize the fact that there is a problem. When you don't recognize the fact that there is a problem, then you cannot find a solution to it. And so for me,